Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor. I wanted to remind you, go in the link in the top of the description. If you haven't ordered Ledger Stax yet, I've already pre-ordered mine. They say the estimated shipping is by April 2023. Getting pretty excited. So these are going, I don't know if they have a limit on the amount of pre-orders they're going to take or what, but you can still pre-order one right now, so go check that out. Now, yesterday we covered this, and I want to drive this home, okay? A lot of people might say, oh, yeah, XRP special drawing rights. Yeah, right. And special drawing rights, that's done out of the IMF. Well, here specifically in this, this is from Stanford. It had XRP mentioned as a, one of the multi-currency options, the type of thing that could be done. We've covered this stuff in the past. And so then today, I wanted to tie this in. Today, James Rule put out, and a lot of people out there think, oh, that XRP buyback, that's ridiculous and all that. Well, I've always said that I didn't even think it was necessarily about a buyback. I always felt like it was more about sending a message and letting the powers that be know that no. We're not just going to take it if you try to take this from us, or if you try to give us some cheap price to get us out and force us out. That's not going to happen. What I found interesting, this is the executive summary, Valhalla Capital's proposed terms. And they have as parties, one is the World Bank, and the other, one of the four, they got the Treasury, the Fed, but the International Monetary Fund. Now that I found interesting and kind of ties in with what I wanted to show you today. So I saw this one this morning. Let me make sure I follow this guy. Okay. SDR from the IMF is where the global liquidity source will come from. The Fed is finished and have no more runway left, which is why the ESDR will be the new world reserve. Electronic SDR, no human can hold that when that happens. It says it on the IMF website. Look at this. SDRs are only allocated to IMF members that elect to participate in the SDR department. SDRs can be held and used by member countries, the IMF, certain designated official entities called prescribed holders, see below. But it cannot be held, for example, by private entities or individuals. Its status as a reserve asset derives from the commitments of members to hold, exchange SDRs, and accept value of SDRs as determined by the fund. It also serves as the unit of account for the IMF, some other international organizations, Well, this idea that it can't be held by individuals, see, I believe that this is where the people like Gary Gensler may have been sent. See, because here in the United States, the way you keep things out of the hand of retail is the accredited investor rules. In other words, the accredited investor rules, it has to be an institution or somebody that's worth a lot of money, okay? This is how the wealthy in this country keep themselves wealthy and keep all the retail people out. Listen to what Jimmy Valley said. This is on with Zach Rector. Go give him a follow, and the link to the video is right here.
They're trying to capture this entire sector through this library case effectively, and then they want to turn around and use that precedent in the Ripple case and apply it to XRP as well. But make no mistake, if they have their druthers, they will completely lock out retail from this entire sector, and it'll only be the banks that are effectively able to use the stuff.
And they want to change the accreditation to $10 million of net worth versus $1 million.
Yes, that's what Gary has tried to do.
And then we see, we understand this, right? These are Goldman Sachs guys and gals and basically just Wall Street guys. It's a revolving door, right, between the Wall Street guys, and then they head on into regulatory service. They are of service. I call him good guy Gary. Some people call him Goldman Gary, right? And so what you're saying is they're protecting the interest of the banking, the old world, right? and holding back. And this is why they went after Ripple, is because XRP, simply stated by Ripple in 2017, XRP was to become a reserve currency that was as liquid as a G10 currency.
That's correct. Now, so this is the reason, while everybody says, oh, Jimmy Valley's crazy, their $50,000 is ridiculous. It's not about the 50,000, not for me. What this is about, I think what Jimmy Valley is up to is he is up to getting all the retail holders on record to say, look, you're not going to pull this off on us. We know what this thing's worth. If you try to pull it, we're going to have standing to sue you or whatever. I think that's kind of more what he's up to. And calculation of potential damages. Now, so this is Jim Rickards, who you think all this talk's crazy? This guy was in the 3-letter agency that starts with a C and ends in an A, okay? Watch this.
So here's a preview of the future. When I say the future, everything on the slide is already in development or working. So this is not science fiction. This is not something for the 22nd century. It's happening now. Basically, China and Russia are building their own cryptocurrency system. Now, when I say cryptocurrency, don't go out and buy Bitcoin. I don't like Bitcoin. I think it's the worst thing you could do. But the world of cryptocurrencies is not limited to Bitcoin. There are actually over 2,000 cryptocurrencies, some of them quite small. But you could go home tonight with the right software, you could invent your own cryptocurrency called the Icon coin. But Russia and China are developing their own. What used to be called the blockchain, today people call it the distributed ledger. So this is distributed ledger technology. They're developing their own coin or token. It'll be heavily encrypted, military-grade encryption, with their own pipes, meaning their own kind of private internet. And imagine an economy that looks like the following. So Iran sells oil to China. North Korea sells weapons to Iran. China sells infrastructure to Russia. Russia sells weapons to China. Russians take a vacation in Turkey because it's a pretty country, and so on. So I've just described a whole trading network, and imagine it's all done with this cryptocurrency. So all we do is keep score. And you can keep score with baseball cards, bottle caps. I mean, it doesn't have to be money to keep score. It's just a way of keeping track. Pegged to the SDR, the special drawing right, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. Managed through a cryptocurrency system that's encrypted and secure. And then every now and then, once a month, once a quarter, once a year, we look at the chits and we decide who owes what to whom, and we settle up in gold. And we put the gold on a plane, fly it over to the other guy, and there it is. So this is a combination of a 21st cryptocurrency system with a 19th century or 5th century BC, if you like, gold system. You're combining the two, the oldest form of money and the newest form of money. Notice what's missing in everything I just described. No dollars. There's no dollar in that system. The SDR, the cryptocurrency, gold, the ledger, the trading network, all play a role, but there's no dollar in that system. That's what we're moving up towards.
Right. But there could be XRP, which would be a compromise to being the world reserve currency. Now, do you remember what Chris Larson said in this video? It all adds up, folks.
What about the future of cryptocurrencies? Where do you see the future?
Now, while you're watching this is the chairman of a U.S. company, and I want you to ask yourself while you're listening to this, is when in your lifetime have you ever heard any CEO, chairman, whatever, of any company in the United States compare any one of their products or services to a G10 freaking currency? When have you heard that? The answer is zero. I'll answer it for you.
Of these digital assets and maybe the role of Bitcoin and Ripple or XRP in that future.
Yeah, so our view is that these digital assets really become supplemental to the existing family of currencies, right? So every country still needs its own, fiat currency for all kinds of reasons.
Oh yeah, I started this company in my garage, and I envision that that I've created this currency that's going to be a supplemental currency, kind of like the Swiss franc. It's going to be like that. Who says that? Nobody says that.
I won't get into it. It's very complicated, right? And I actually think that the big four, the yen, the euro, the dollar, the RMB, they actually, I think, come stronger in this world that we're going into, partially because of digital assets.
Okay.
That these digital assets actually contribute to a world that's more interoperable, where more people around the globe can get access to these big four. And most of global commerce is done in the big four. So I think you have a bifurcation going on. Those big four get stronger. I think some of the smaller currencies, maybe even more of the very small fiat currencies, become less relevant, maybe even disappear. A country could have its own fiat, but still use one of the big four. Lots of
like
examples.
Montenegro, right?
Absolutely. But I think then where the digital assets fit in, like things like XRP and Bitcoin and Ethereum, they're kind of in that mid-range. They become, I think, like the Singapore dollar or the Swiss franc, and they become useful in, kind of lubricating the world to make it easier for those big four to get in the hands of people all around the world. So that's useful. And then it might also be things like applications and devices that maybe primarily use one of those digital assets. So that's kind of the view we have. So I think in that world, countries should be less threatened by what's going on and see them as simply supplemental rather than a threat. Too much talk about it being a threat. Our industry has done a bad job in too much bravado and chest pounding. It's just kind of silly.
All right, but the reason that I've been fixated on this one company and this one digital asset for all these years is because who says that? Think about the people that he's been having to meet with and the meetings he's been having to feel comfortable about saying something like that out loud without either getting laughed off camera or having the FBI show up at your door. Think about that. That's why I'm here. Now, he mentioned interoperability, and just so happens this is the lady that runs the IMF, Christina Georgieva, or whatever her name is.
We have talked about digital future. Sorry to bring it to all of us, but the future has arrived. And we all are now striving to make the best out of it, because not only it has arrived, but it has arrived on steroids. If you look at the speed with which CBDCs are picking up, we have done a survey. Over 100 countries are at different stages of CBDCs, or what is happening in universe of stablecoins, or what is happening in the crypto asset universe. We clearly have a lot to deal with. I would like to concentrate on one issue, and it is how we do it with regard to cross-border payments in a world of growing fragmentation.
That's correct. Now, against the backdrop of everything I just showed you, everybody always gets mad whenever the term pre-allocation of the XRP escrow comes up. Like that's just some crazy idea. Well, to me, it's never been crazy because we know Greg Kidd had an option on $1 billion. We know that R3 had an option on, I think it was $5 billion. So my thought pattern has always been, if these guys have option contracts, who else has option contracts? If SDRs are really in the game, are you telling, and we've seen people at Ripple that have been having meetings with the IMF, are you telling me that none of those people in any of these discussions have had a discussion about option contracts or being allocated some? I believe they have. Watch this. Try not to be offended, but if you are, you'll live.
They probably have future plans, deals, contracts, and allocations already made for that escrow. What's your take on that, Jimmy?
There's a lot to the escrow. First of all, it's the terms of the escrow are cryptographically published and secured on the XRPL right now. So they may want, there could be a transaction or a settlement where they'd love to give, the government the whole escrow or whatever, but they just can't because it's basically been cryptographically published already to the XRPL. So the only way, in a way, they have published the monetary policy of XRP full stop. I mean, that's just the way it is. And whoever deals with it going forward is going to be encumbered by the way XRP flows from the escrow. I did hear some of that Twitter space that he went in, which was super bizarre because he got ambushed by these people. And one guy's like, now, when you answer this, I'm a stockholder in Ripple. It's like, okay, but one of the other things that I thought was much more profound about what he said is that when they sell the XRP, he's like, how do you account for that? And what he says is we account for it as revenue, just like you would as any business selling a product, right? So sounds like, they take down the 200-300 million XRP. Well, it's $1 billion, right? It comes out as $1 billion, right. But every month they have, and I just went through this with Molly. I'll have to send you this because XRP.
I watched it yesterday. So yeah, I know where you're going. At the current rate, it would take them 25 years to release all that XRP.
Because the whole thing would have taken 25. The rest is about 20 years. Yeah. At the average rate that it's actually going out into the market. As I understand, the $1 billion comes down. I think this is where kind of maybe they've got some pre-allocated contracts with super big kids. And it's like, okay, here's your 50 million, here's your 80 million, here's your 100 million. Nobody else is asking. Boom, it goes back in and it's cryptographically secured for another 55 months, right? It goes to the end of the line. So that's what I think about the escrow. I think maybe that was an incentive to try to get control of the escrow by the various powers that be. I think it's going to be tough for them to do. You'd have to have a consensus of the XRPL nodes basically agree to, unlock the escrow and allow for them to do that, which, maybe if there were a global deal to how it was going to work, maybe that could happen. I don't know.
I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family that pre-allocation could be a real